Welcome to Be Me with Shari Ware, the podcast where each day is a step towards a better you and where we focus on progress, not perfection. Join me as we embark on a journey of self-improvement and wellness, focusing on being just a little better than we were yesterday. Hello and welcome to episode 45 of the Be Me podcast. My name is Shari Ware, I'm your host, and in this episode we're talking about prioritising self-care, some meaningful ways to nurture your mind, body and spirit. I found a quote by Buddha for this episode. You yourself, as much as anybody in the entire universe, deserve your love and affection. And that spoke right to my heart because it's not something that I've always abided by in my life, unfortunately, especially in my younger years and when I was raising my children. It's definitely something that I work on every day now because I realised how important it was. And I definitely show myself a lot of love and affection these days, and it is something that I work on. I'm still a work in progress, and I probably always will be, but hopefully that quote speaks to your heart as much as it spoke to mine. So this episode, we're going to be turning the spotlight inward and nurturing the most important relationship you have, your relationship with you. And despite what some people believe, prioritising self-care isn't indulgent. It is actually foundational because when you care for you, you show up better, you are better, you can be better, you can do better for everything and everyone else in your life. So why does self-care matters? Self-care improves your emotional balance, it improves your resilience, and it improves how you relate to others. It creates space for calm and confidence and clarity. And when you don't look after yourself, it is very easy to fall into overwhelm or burnout or disconnection. So how can you actually practice self-care? So I'm going to give you quite a few different options. They're all simple, but I just like to give people different options because some things you'll go, yep, I can do that. And some things you'll go, nope, that is so not me. And that's okay. So your first one on the list is mindfulness and meditation, which are just some simple grounding practices that will help you to reconnect and reduce stress. And they don't have to take a lot of time. Another one is self-gratitude. Now, you could be journaling, you could be writing down what you love and appreciate about yourself, or you could just simply mentally note or say to yourself what you love and appreciate about yourself. But it helps you to build your confidence and can quite often give you a different perspective as well, especially if you're struggling with something. You could do some pampering for yourself, creating joy through small acts of self-kindness. Now, it can be something as simple as a walk or a bath or your favourite food, a cuppa. It could be just getting out in the sun, in nature for 5 minutes. Hopefully you can hear those beautiful birds all around me. I'm filming outside and I'm really loving that I can hear the birds. So hopefully you can in the background. Some creative expression, something that helps you to, that gives you a creative outlet. It can actually be a release valve. So it could be some kind of craft like crochet or knitting or tapestry, or painting or writing or cooking, anything that makes you feel good. Another one is movement and nourishment. So physical well-being, when we're physically well, it helps with our mental wellness. It supports our mental wellness. So choosing movement, and I say movement as opposed to exercise. I use the term movement because Exercise a lot of times brings up a picture in people's heads of what exercise looks like to them, and it doesn't have to be that. Movement can be anything. It could be putting your favourite song on and dancing in your lounge room for the length of the song. It could be going for a gentle walk. It could be gardening if you love gardening. If there are some crazy people out there who actually like cleaning, if you like cleaning, it could be cleaning. The point is, anything, movement is anything that moves your body, um, and doing it in a way that you love is showing yourself a lot of self-care and love. And same with food. Food that nourishes. So I'm not saying go out and and eat a packet of Tim Tams or something like that. That food's not going. It's not going to nourish your body. It might nourish your taste buds, but it's not going to nourish your body. But I'm not saying that we can't have some. Sometimes I call them sometimes foods. We can have sometimes foods. Sometimes that's quite okay and actually necessary as far as I'm concerned. However, consistently, most days, if we want to be showing ourselves self-care and love and kindness, um, good, healthy, nourishing food is what we want to have the most of. Now, this one might be a big thing for some people. It's actually not. It's a very small thing. However, it can feel like a big thing. And I know in my life in the past, it definitely has felt like a big thing. And that is healthy boundaries. Um, Saying no can actually be an act of self respect. Now, I know when that was first put to me, and it was put to me in the way of saying yes to everything or saying yes to everybody else can actually be disrespectful to yourself, because when you say yes to something, you automatically have to say no to something else. And a lot of times that can be saying no to something for you. So that actually really, I hadn't thought about it that way before. And it really made me stop and sit up and think and go, oh, that's actually, that can be true. Absolutely, that can be true in a lot of cases. So healthy boundaries, saying no, can be an act of self-respect. Honor your energy and capacity, and it's okay to do that. Reflection and goals is another way that you can show yourself self-care and love. Checking in with where you are and where you're heading. If you're anything like me, you do make goals on a regular basis, and you work your way towards them. And sometimes you kind of get a bit caught up in the busy life, and you kind of deviate, get a little sidetracked off the route. So it's really good to check in and see, am I still on the path, or have I deviated? Do I need to bring myself back to the path? Um, Making sure that we have our purpose and direction, making sure that we are prioritizing that. All right, so as hopefully you would have seen from the examples that I've just given you of some ways that you can show yourself self-care or prioritize self-care, it doesn't have to be big. It doesn't have to be expensive. It doesn't have to take a lot of time. What is important is that it is consistent and that it is something that is meaningful to you. What is going to be meaningful to me is not necessarily going to be the same thing that is meaningful to you. So it's important for it to be meaningful to you and for you to indulge in it consistently. So, what is one small step you can take to honour you today? Now, For this edition, there is a corresponding, or for this episode, I should say, there is a corresponding Be Me Bites edition, Be Me Bites 45, Prioritising Self-Care, Nurturing Your Wellbeing this Valentine's Day. That is because when I released it, it was either just before or on Valentine's Day. I can't remember which right now. I will direct you to that edition for the reason that I've spoken about different things in this episode, such as meditation, mindfulness, saying no, journaling, all of those things. And in the corresponding Be Me Bites edition, I have linked to all of the editions that I have done on those different topics. So you will find a whole host of resources in that one edition that will help you with anything that you want to explore further. And I would say that while this was the topic that I wanted to focus on around Valentine's Day, this is something that is actually really important to be focusing on every day. And if you subscribe to Be Me Bites, you get a free online copy of any one of my books of your choice. And when you subscribe, you get an email that tells you how to claim that. That's my ethical bribe. That's it for this episode. And until the next episode, keep taking one step at a time. See ya. Thank you so much for joining me on this episode. Remember to check out the show notes, and if you have any comments, feedback or suggestions, I'd love to hear them. If you've received value from this podcast, make sure to subscribe, and I'd love you to rate and review the show. Have a fabulous day.